It's full steam ahead on Ukraine's answer to the TGV.
Hit 140 here, then down to 100 past the station.
Running at 160 kilometers an hour on an archaic network, the new Hyundai Rotem trains offer quite a ride. They're part of a massive investment program linked to Euro 2012 and totaling more than 10 billion euros. They will halve journey times between host cities Kiev, Lviv, Kharkiv and Donetsk. Donetsk is the heart of Ukraine's industrial Russian-speaking east. Hardly a tourist destination, it's undergone a makeover for foreign fans. But one these activists find more than a little suspicious.
This is one of the new signs they put up in Donetsk for the euro, at 900 euros each. Have a look. This isn't silver, it's not bronze, it's ordinary metal. So what are the 900 euros for? I don't get it.
Yefhen is convinced the real answer is kickbacks. The signs, he says, are just one example of the corruption that is ravaging Ukraine. Yefhen is the local leader of a small new political party, Democratic Alliance. They're fundraising for an anti-graft campaign.
We're the first party in Ukraine that's not accepting money from oligarchs or spending it on expensive billboards and so on.
The mood in Donetsk is as bleak as the weather. Tired of venal politicians, people respond well to the activists.
These people pay taxes in order to have a decent city, with hospitals and decent roads. And the city simply steals this money, so of course they feel concerned.
When everyone starts thinking like these guys, then things will change, but until then... Oh, excuse me, my bus is here.
That change may be coming. In the run-up to Euro 2012, corruption has become a constant topic of discussion in Ukraine. And this is one of the main reasons. The renovation of Kiev's Olympijski Stadium was carried out by companies whose ownership is opaque and who won their contracts in non-competitive tenders. It cost 500 million euros, more than many stadiums take to build from scratch. So where did the money go? Certainly not to these workers racing to complete the venue's car park just days before kickoff. They say they earn about 15 euros a day and live in fear of not getting paid at all. All the more so if they were to be caught on camera complaining. Eventually, one labourer agrees to an interview a little distance from the site, but strictly with his back to us.
The rest of my team has gone home. They didn't get a single kopeck of what they were owed, but I'm telling you, in Ukraine people will kill for 10 euros. For 10 euros, they'll cut your head off. And the sums I'm talking about here, it's more like 4,000 euros that weren't paid. So if someone doesn't like what I say, they can take me out. And I'm not here to challenge those forces, you know what I mean?
To meet a worker who will show his face, we travel 500 kilometers to Dnipropetrovsk. Ihor's former team leader, Andrei, meets us here in Ukraine's fourth largest city. But it's the smaller towns of the region that he says we have to see to get a better sense of how the elite are bagging the country's wealth.
You'll see when we get to Nikopol and Ordzhonikidze. My hometown, Ordzhonikidze, used to be the world #1 for manganese ore extraction, and it's still #2. All these colossal revenues, they used to flow into the city budget. Now they all just end up in a few people's pockets.
Apart from the occasional luxury SUV to be seen on its streets, there are few signs in Ordzhonikidze that this is a mineral-rich town. Its outlying districts, where Andrei's mother lives, don't even have running water. Andrei has been recuperating here after leaving the stadium site in Kiev penniless and disgusted at the way he was treated.
I went there to earn money to help my mother, who's ill.
I'm ill, but for what I get from my pension, I can't afford to buy medicine.
Andrei's mother raises chickens and grows vegetables to make ends meet. But she was counting on a bit of assistance from her son.
I'm telling you, instead of helping my mum, I've ended up lining the pockets of some dodgy people that I don't even know.
Andrei claims that after several weeks of work, his employers flatly denied that he and his team had done anything and expelled them from the site. Other workers, he says, had similar stories.
A lot of people I started chatting to because, well, I was interested, I was investigating, asking why they didn't pay us. They said, "You're not alone. Really, a lot of people got ripped off."
The corrupt practices that lead to such situations happen to be the subject of a parliamentary debate that very day. It's on the radio.
They say all the right things and do the opposite.
2012 року в Україні показує 67% громадян готові давати хабарі для того, щоб вирішити питання. Для чого ми привчаємо? Куди ми прийдемо? Який Європейський Союз? Нам зачепили якусь задригалівку треба робити.
The EU's relations with Ukraine have gone cold recently, mainly because of the treatment of former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko. Her jailing last autumn is widely seen as politically motivated and unfair. But Andrei is convinced that she was just as corrupt as the current government. Europe's demands for her release leave him perplexed.
Why Tymoshenko? I'm not a fan of Tymoshenko, absolutely not. Frankly speaking, it doesn't bother me that she's in jail. They could shoot her for all I care. All I say is, if she were president rather than Viktor Yanukovych, she'd do exactly the same as him. In my view, jail's the right place for her, but not just for her, also for the current Prime Minister, Azarov, and Yanukovych, and the rest.
We head back to Donetsk. Yevhen and his colleagues from Democratic Alliance are staging a protest action that plays on the notion of punishing corrupt officials. On trial, the archetypal crooked councillor.
He is guilty. He is guilty of stealing money by buying chicken for kindergartens at the price of €3.70 per kilo, when the real market value is less than €2.
Yevhen reads out a litany of charges against the city council, alleging that kickbacks inflate prices for public spending across the board.
Democratic Alliance is today hanging the whole corrupt system, which is designed to steal taxpayers' money.
Two city council employees observe the happening disapprovingly. Press Secretary Maxim Rovinsky has prepared a symbolic gesture of his own.
I would like to present to you two laws. The law on local self-government, which defines our area of authority, and the law on public procurement, which the City Council observes when tendering. Here you are. Secondly, today is an important holiday, Ascension Day. The performance that you arranged, of course, drew attention to you. Here is some holy water. I advise you to absolve yourselves, because what you have done today does not really fit with Orthodox tradition.
Did you give this to the councillors too?
Excuse me?
The members of the city council.
No, today the councillors were all in church.
Aside from his religious objections to Democratic Alliance's action, Maxim says the figures they cited were distorted. But he admits that corruption is a problem in Ukraine.
It's not that it's normal, but it's a part of culture. It's a part of culture, unfortunately, in this country too. It's something that was here before we were. It wasn't us who invented it.
The action sparks discussion in front of the town hall. The man in the pink shirt is an official who asked not to be identified.
In Great Britain, it took 200 years to develop the system of democratic values in which the country lives and develops. But the basis of this system is the rule of law. Those are Margaret Thatcher's words. Here, unfortunately, we don't have the rule of law. That's why we have this illness that we have.
And that's why it's okay for you to charge kindergartens €1.20 for sugar that costs 60 cents, is it? Tell me, is that Thatcher's fault? Is that democracy's fault? Or because one individual officer decided to steal?
Tatiana, a local journalist, actually found this discussion unusually positive.
The usual reaction is to ignore any allegations, or sometimes they take a piece of paper and write a formal rebuttal, noting that they're offended.
Back on the train, we get a chance to ask the man in charge of Ukraine's Euro 2012 preparations, Deputy Prime Minister Boris Kolesnikov, for his reaction to allegations that he and other officials have been taking huge kickbacks from tournament spending.
What matters are the facts. Facts, I need facts. If there's corruption, we'll prepare the proof and give it to the police, and let the police take it to the courts. There are no facts, so we can only gossip.
And do you personally think that any facts will emerge?
I'm waiting for facts. I can't say I'll be happy if such facts do come to light, but I'm waiting. So far, no facts have emerged.
The train pulls into Lviv to a football-themed fanfare. Staged welcomings notwithstanding, Boris Kolesnikov and his Russian-speaking colleagues are not popular figures in Lviv. Famed for its vibrant old town and cafe culture, this Ukrainian-speaking city is traditionally the most pro-European part of the country. In fact, though, disappointed after 2 years under a Russia-friendly government, people from all over Ukraine are pinning their hopes on Europe and on Euro 2012.
Our infrastructure is poor.
I think that Ukraine is absolutely not ready for Euro 2012.
Of course, we hope that everything will be okay.
It won't.
But for Ukraine, it is a significant step, because we're trying to get into the European structures, to build strong relationships with Europe. So we've got high hopes from you foreigners coming here. So you see our country and visit us, and see what beautiful cities we have, like Lviv.
Real hope or just wishful thinking? Optimism is rare in today's Ukraine. Euro 2012 has raised expectations, but this is a country that has had more than its share of broken promises.